Hello, my name is Javette Macau, and this is my Spring 26 Adaptable Career Plan, but in video. So let's go through each section here. So the first one is my why statement. And so basically I still don't have like a real motivation other than the fact that I chose it, because to be honest, I kind of put my options of like stuff like, okay, what's something that I don't mind doing, and then I kind of like spin the wheel on it. But then that was for the international part is also because I like to travel. But I then chose accounting because I actually liked the class, and I actually liked doing the journal entries. Other than that, something else is that I've always loved like just like the sense of like kind of like learning, like just pure learning. I've always liked that. I've always liked math as well, in the fact that it has like a more definitive answer, like compared to like English where it's like up to your interpretation. Math is like there's different ways to do it, but it should all come out to the same answer. So like I do like that because I like exploring how to get to it and how it all connects. So like adding those two and adding that as well, I do like I want to be like an international accountant, so that it can allow me to travel, which in traveling I can learn about different cultures, and that's something like I also like to do. And it's like being an accountant, like the accounting industry, you can have like a remote job, and that's something I also like, because I could deal with like funny enough, an 8 to 5 doesn't sound that bad if there's a reasonable pay to it, for me at least. But like I kind of want the option to kind of like choose, like maybe I'll go for like 3 days, so like a hybrid. That's also pretty good. But it doesn't limit me, you know. So those are like that value of like freedom. So those are kind of like also values as well. I've also very much like being able to show not to show my work, but to show the final outcome. And then if someone asks like, how'd you get there, that's when I'll show the work. Or like that's how I'll explain how I got there. Because like if I show the work and then I don't like, I like because that's something I kind of hate, and I kind of like when people ask me to show my work as I'm doing it, I don't like it, because you can see like all the mistakes, and when I see them I kind of like gets more like, okay, why did I do that? But as I'm doing it like by myself, right, in my head and stuff, I can catch the mistakes better in there, and then when I write it out I can make it a lot more easier to understand. Welcome to part B, the VIP alignment map. Some values that I hold would be I know that I like to be honest about my work. That is something I do. That's something I do value. That my work is mostly honest, which is why I have such a hard time reflecting, because my reflections, like when I do reflections myself, they're always straight to the point. And I guess it's like I kind of already know why, and so I don't see the point of reflecting more about it if I know the why already, and why that why is why. Some interest is that I would like to have a steady job, but also the fact that it's kind of like repeating, but with like some changes. So like every day, I like knowing what's expected of me and what's going to happen, rather than like what is it, like unexpected events, I guess would be a way to say it. Personality traits, while I may not be detail oriented, I do like nitpicking. Those are two different things in my opinions. Detail oriented is like when you're building it something and you're like, you want every detail right. Nitpicking is having something established already and finding all the little holes. So that's something else. Skills, I don't really have that many skills apart from say like in an academic sense. I have those type of skills, not like life skills or something like that. Like, let's see, like speaking with people, that's not me. I can, but actually wanting to do, like, being social, it's not it. Telling someone, like persuading someone, it usually depends, but I can usually do that. I do like math, as I said before, so that's another skill. I can do math with a calculator. I can't do each step by hand anymore, but I'm always like, even if I forget something with math, I could pick it up like on the first, second try. So let's look at what being an accountant, like what type of things an accountant would have here. So for an accountant, some of like their values is integrity, which yes, I love. It's kind of why I have a problem with AI, kind of. Not in the fact that I'll never use it, I do use it, but in the fact that if I get it to do the work for me and never learning that work, that's when I have a problem. Objectively, like being very objective to stuff, I do like that too, because as a person, as I've grown as a person, I try to look at things objectively, or I try to at least understand like both sides, so that I'm able to find like a middle ground. Confidentiality, I like the fact for that that you're being trusted. I do like that feeling of being trusted. Some key interests for them is like, how do monies make their business management, which I also love, because like I like learning how money is being dealt with in a way. And when I forget, that's probably why I like the accounting class, because I was like, oh, that's just what this all is. Problem solving, so that's kind of goes with like the nitpicking, I guess, in a way, because it's finding it problems. The nitpicking does help with like helping make something better, and since accounting is so like already like established, kind of, I can nitpick at it without having to make it established, I guess, in a way. Some personality traits: being detail oriented. So I know I said that I'm not that type of person, but I guess that's something I need to work on. It says also here methodical, which is like something I did also like that I was explaining earlier. And some essential skills for them is data analysis, which, yes, makes sense. You're gonna need to be able to figure out different things. Being able to do math correctly. Yes, I could do that. Usually, like, if I know the answer is wrong or it's not coming out right for math, I'll keep doing it over and over again until I get it done. Some soft skills is, as I said before, communication when explaining it to, like, clients, right? Or other coworkers. So that's something I'll need to work on. Time management. Yeah, I need to work on that one. We can all tell. So yes, there's some gaps, but I'm mostly aligned with these VIPs. But like I could definitely start doing better at communication, which is like I'll keep making that better through when I'm trying to like network in class. That's something I can do. Or like when I'm being I'm doing homework for other classes and like I'm doing it with someone else, like, yeah, the teamwork in other classes, right? Being like detail oriented, I could make improvements in that by using graphic paper, the paper that has like all the lines, and it's a graph basically, because that'll force me to like, okay, I can't like slant at all, it'll go into another column. So that kind of answers section C about the hard and soft skills, but for the hard one, but let me just like categorize that. So for the hard ones, that'd be like the data analysis or like the mathematical, like the math. But another one could be knowing how to use Excel, which is something I need to work on because I've never used that before. And then like the soft skills be like the communication, the time management, the critical thinking and collaboration. So as I said before, working on the communication and working on the time management. I can do critical thinking I'm like at a medium level at it, but that's just like, but I can just grow on that. That one comes more naturally than the other two. Collaboration, I'm pretty good at working at a team, on the fact that if I'm not like the leader of it, unless it's something that I care for, because I can work on a team quite fine if like I know what I'm doing and stuff. But if I have to be the one leading it for something I don't care for too much, it's kind of more like a chore. So I guess that's something I also need to work out on, I guess. The collaboration. So for me, I think like this, like I have more technical skills in a sense, and so I think like that's gonna really help me in my future career, obviously. What steps? Yeah, it's just more working on the soft skills part of it that I need to do more. But I also definitely need to do the Excel one, that's for sure, because I think like every company uses Excel or like some type of version of it, and so that is something I do need to work on ASAP. So I'll probably do that during the summer, or next fall when I have my data analysis, so I know more. I'm like, okay, I'm not just playing around on Excel. I can more or less see how it actually all works, because that's something I've learned. If I learn how it works as I'm learning the material, it sticks a lot easier than if I was just like playing around with it. So that's kind of intentional too, right? So the concern, I guess, that's happening in accounting right now is that all the CPAs are like near retirement age, and so that means like work is not like the work being provided and being put out is not the best it could be. So let's see here. Yeah, so it's like not the best that it can be. And for me, I like the fact that that's like a more certain, that they're like looking for like like there's gonna be the fact that there's people are hiring for that. And I've kind of always like I like the idea of the fact that people are looking for it, so it's not like I'm intruding, right? And then I'll become a CPA and I can help like make sure that the material being put out there is not as weak anymore. So that's something. There's like they want help needed here, and I can provide that in something that doesn't seem super bad. So for the social capital and networking part, I want to join I want to get an internship at the CPR Carbics. Yeah, I want to get an internship there because I went to a presentation, right? And they have international accountants there, but it's also like it's public, so you get to experience a lot of more you get to experience like a lot more like changes and like what exactly is accounting in its entirety, right? And it's also maybe a place that I can actually work at, because they have international accountants there, and I can start stepping up and building the career. One of the clubs that I want to join is the Beta Alpha Sixth chapter, which is basically where like all like the top students go to for accounting, and that's something that I would like to join because I think that can open a lot of doors for me. It also because that's like a networking opportunity, of course. And then there's when I get to like accounting 2, because accounting 1, people who aren't an accounting major, right, or who aren't like serious about it can still take it, but accounting 2 is like, okay, we've kind of weeded out the more iffy ones. I shouldn't say that, but it's kind of like the less serious ones about it in a way. So in accounting too, I plan to like make more friends and stuff, and like all of these things. So in accounting too, making the friends, it's like, hey, I need help with this problem. Like, what do you think? Getting the advice from them. The club, same thing, but this time I'm distinguishing myself. And then the internship is like, maybe I'll like the work environment there, so maybe I'll build my career there because they have international accountants, and there's like, but they have like a bunch of other different types of accountants. So if I don't like it, I can like switch, or I can see like, oh, I actually like this much more than that, and so that's what I'll do. And then here's my elevator pitch. Hi, my name is Rafa Mercado. I'm double majoring in international business and accounting at the University of the Rio Grande Valley. What makes me unique is that I won't give up on a problem until I fix it, or I come up with a different solution that is equally at the same level of fixing it. So I'm pretty resilient in that way. I have one of my goals for the future is to get a internship next summer, because as a freshman summer, no one's really hiring them, but for sophomore, it's like, okay, they have more confidence in you, and some places are looking for sophomores, so that's a lot easier to find. Okay, so for my two possible career paths, they're both accounting, but the first one is international accounting, and then the other one is just tax accounting, which a lot of people go into. So they both require the same hard and soft skills that we were talking about earlier, but their responsibilities are different. So for international accounting, they're required to ensure like the global reporting and making sure that they're following like international, like both accounting like rules. Their audience is more shareholders, global investors, and but of course the people who uphold the international rules. Their regulation mostly focus in the IFRS and the trades between them, and what are their. And then for tax accountants, they're more on minimizing the liability and ensuring the compliance of the laws for tax. Their audience is more of like the tax authorities, like the IRS, and like the internal management, and they follow, for their regulations, it's the tax codes that are, of course, they try to upheld. So both of these jobs, they're both high pressure, but the timing of it differs. So for like the tax accountants, theirs is very like they know when it's going to happen, so it's highly predictable. So like the busy season, which would be the tax season, right? And then the rest of the time is more like the pressure is less intense, while international is constantly, always, because they had to deal with global markets. So like the tax like the month end or quarter, like when the accounting cycle ends, could be different for different areas, will be different for different areas. So there's more is like an ongoing, while they like a lot of them don't spend a lot of time in manual data entry because of the AI. For international, theirs is more like a mission control, so it's like the monitoring and stuff is done by AI, and they're like taking account into that. While for tax, there is more like checking the facts and being able to defend why the AI said this, or like, so first there's making sure that the AI is correct, and then second they're defending it to other people on why it's correct. Another thing is that they're both learning environments. So for tax, it's very academic, right? So they have to keep following up with the new so the new laws for tax, right, for them. And then for international, it's like the culture shocks between them. You have to be able to pivot from one to another, because in the morning you could have a meeting with like the Tokyo representative for them, and then in the other one you could have a meeting for the London. So those are like two very different cultures, so you have to be able to manage those two different cultures. But either way, a lot of this does align with my VIPs. For my why statement, it also aligns with that, because I have the basic, it kind of aligns with it. My motivations, no, because I don't really have those, or not any big ones. It's more of like the little things. Similarities and differences that I've noticed would be like, they're all based on the same foundation of managing how the money moves, which is accounting, right? But it's like where the money moves. So like for like the tax, it's how that person, the individual's money move, while international is looking at how the money moves around the world connected to that business. Adaptable, flexible, and like how these two are able to help, because they're both in the same, like they're both require an accounting degree. So I don't have to change that. Like I don't have to go back to school to become the second one, right? Compared to like if I wanted to be an accountant and then I want to be a doctor, and then I would have to go back to school, and that's not really flexible and realistic. But for an accounting, a bunch of different areas of accounting is open, so I can always like pivot to another area, and I'll only be behind like a couple of years depending on how early I pivot. And then even if it's later, I have like the work system down most likely, right? Like I have more of like, okay, I've been in this industry for a bit and I know more or less how it actually works. And so yeah, this would be my project. Bye.